Hey everybody, I'm Lisa Young Sutton and welcome to my channel. This is the first video of 2024 and I am really happy to share this 3-card Grand Jeu Lenormand spread that I drew for one of my grooming clients on Saturday. It was so spot on and it resonated with this man so strongly that I was suddenly inspired to make a video about it. For those of you who aren't sure yet about the Grand Jeu Lenormand, I'm hoping this video will convince you that it's going to be worth your time. It'll be well worth your time. I mean, I know a lot of you are looking at these cards and you're thinking, oh God, look at all that going on there and I'll never learn it all and there's too much and it makes me dizzy and whatever. All I can say is that I was you at one time. But it kept drawing me in and I'm so glad it did because, there's no going back once you learn this system. All right, so here's the story. Steve, my client, wanted to know if he should join forces with Harry, who approached him with a proposition to enter into a business venture together. They both owned businesses in the same field. Steve always thought of Harry as his biggest competitor, and he never trusted him. And Harry's been working in the field much longer. He has a very well-established business. He has a bigger following. He's more well-known, all of that, right? So Steve's biggest fear was that Harry would capitalize on Steve's ideas and take credit for them, But on the other hand, Harry is very successful, and he could open a lot of doors for Steve, who's been thinking of the old saying that you should keep your friends close and your enemies closer. He's kind of looking at it like that. So he is very enticed by this offer. He's considering it seriously, and he just keeps going back and forth, can't make up his mind. And he said, you read cards or something, don't you? No, actually, I think he said, you read palms or tea leaves or something, don't you? And I said, cards, yes. And so he asked if I would do this for him. Okay, so the question that I brought to the cards was, would it be beneficial for Steve to partner with Harry right now? Let me just repeat that. Would it be beneficial for Steve, or will it be beneficial for Steve to partner with Harry right now? Okay, at this time. That's important, all right? Because, you may ask a question, will them partnering up be beneficial? But if you don't put a time limit in there, your answer could be sure, it's going to be great. But, that may not be a possibility for years. You really have to get very specific with your questions, all right? Vague question, vague answer. All right, so for those of you who are new to card divination, let me just show you quickly the process, right? So Steve was the last client of the day, so I told him that when he returned to pick up his dog, we'd go into my office and bring his question to the cards. I like to adhere to my divination ritual of a quiet and comfortable space with no distractions. If at all possible, you want to, definitely try to limit your distractions. You want to turn your phone off or turn the notifications off. For me, if you're at work, you want to tell everybody outside, put up the do not disturb sign on your door, whatever it is, tell them not to bother you. Definitely turn your phone off if you still have a landline in your office. All of that, right? That's the basis of a ritual. We're not talking about crystals and incense and singing bowls and all that you might have at home. Your ritual should be portable. You should be able to take it anywhere. So it's really just about clearing your mind and getting centered and grounded, okay? So you want to eliminate distractions so that you can do that. You don't want to have time pressures, right? If you say to somebody, okay, yes, I'll be out with you in 5 minutes. Just let me do this. It's not going to happen because you're like, oh my gosh, tick-tock, You can't put those kind of time pressures on yourself if in the beginning anyway. Okay, and you want a clear, calm, and centered mind, right? That's the main point of all this. So, though I do want to mention that, this information is always available to you. I'm just talking about the best way to access it, the easiest way for you to access the information that's already in your, it's part of you. It's like you're connected to the information highway out there, the source of infinite wisdom. but you have to tune into it. So that's all we're talking about, is matching your vibration with the vibration of the universe, so that you're on the same frequency. You know, it's like tuning into that radio station that you want. All right. So, but I did want to just say that I've already been just playing around with my cards, right? Like I'll take my cards out. Here, let me zoom out a bit. You know, I'll take my cards out, like somebody will come in and like I said, I have a grooming shop. So somebody will come in and say, what are these books about? Like my books are on display there, and they'll ask about cards, that kind of thing. And I'll just grab a deck. I have a deck right there behind the counter, and I'll just be playing around, and I'll say, okay, well, let's just say, for example, like, think about what's bothering you right now, or something like that. And I'm just playing around, right? And I'll just throw some cards out. I'll just pull a couple cards out, and then I'll explain what they mean. And this is the cool thing. Their reaction is always the same. It's that jaw-dropping, eye-widening moment where you can just see that spark of wonder igniting inside of them. Like suddenly they consider that all of the magic they believed in as children just might be true after all. Oh, and I love that. And I have to say, nothing thrills me more than that seeing that moment of awakening in somebody when they suddenly believe in magic and miracles. It's amazing. Okay, so once I feel grounded and centered, this is what I do. I grab my deck. Whoops, wait a minute. There we go. Okay, so I grab my deck, and now my mind is clear, and I want to focus on nothing but whoever I'm reading for and their question or their issue, right? The context. That's all I want to have in my mind. And as I'm shuffling, I'm thinking of that, right? I'm repeating it to myself. I might be saying it out loud, all right? And then all of a sudden I feel like I'm ready to pull my cards, right? To draw my cards. I just fan the deck. This is my procedure, okay? There's many different ways of doing it. This is how I do it. Because inevitably someone will ask me. All right, so I fan the cards out right in my hand, and then I choose the card by feel. By feel means I'm going like this, and I'm like, okay, this one feels good. This one feels good, right? That's it. Some readers say that the right card feels warm. For me, I just know it's the right card. It practically jumps out into my hand. Now, one thing that's important is I don't allow myself to overthink this process because I don't want to get my logical mind involved. I want to look at the cards through glassy eyes, or squinty eyes, I call it, right? And, and I'm asking, inside, I'm asking for the right card as I consider where I'm going to put that card, right? So as I'm searching for my center card, I'm thinking that. I'm like, okay, the center card, the main story. You know what I mean? I'm thinking all that, and then I draw it and set it down. Then I'm like, okay, the left-hand card. So I'm considering my positions and what they mean, right? So I'm like, okay, on the left, that card is going to show me the outside influences. So I'm telling the cards what I want, all right? We have complete communication with each other. And that's where the trust comes in. You have to trust the universe if you want to be successful in any type of divination. All right? Okay, so back to, what is this little deck, you're wondering, right? Look how much smaller it is. It's one of those Russian decks. I say one of those Russian decks because, I can't tell you what name that is. And, of course, you're looking at it backwards, right? I don't know. Are you? No, you're not. No, you're looking at it right. Anyway, yes, that's what I mean. Looks like it's backwards to me. But, yes, I don't speak or read Russian. But there's a lot of these smaller Russian decks always popping up on eBay. That's where I have 2 or 3 of them that I've, found over the years. Every time I'm thinking of it, I do a search. You'll find them. Okay, so my procedure in using the Grand Jeu Lenormand is to interpret them visually first, or intuitively. I'm just looking at these pictures. It's like reading a comic strip. Like, oh, what is this guy doing? Like, what does this mean? Oh, look at that. You know what I mean? That's what I do first. I don't do that with the Petit Lenormand at all. In fact, it's the opposite with the Petit Lenormand. But for the Grand Jeu, that is how I do it. Because I still can't tell you what a G actually stands for. I don't know what this constellation is saying, except that, as you can see, this is my cheater deck. This is my keyword deck. And this is the deck I still use, so I have everything written down. But, and looking at these flowers here, would I be able to just tell my client what those flowers mean? No, not yet. Not on every card, I should say, because I'm seeing now that by using these cards frequently, I'm already starting to know what they mean, just from, isn't that how we all learn, like tarot, right? The more you do it, all of a sudden you'll know what all these means, and you'll know the playing card meaning, and if there's geomancy on there, you'll know what that means. So there's a learning curve, yes, but immediately you can look at these main images and get an answer, all right? So that's what I mean, that my procedure when I lay these cards out in front of someone is to initially just look at these main images and tell them the story that I see, all right? And, after that, you can look up the meanings of the other elements that draw your attention, okay? Or the other elements that you already set an intention to use, all right? Because you certainly don't need to use all of them. You don't need to use any of them if you don't want. You can just use the 3 main images on the cards. All right, and a lot of you already know cartomancy. Some of you already understand geomancy. So, you're ahead of the game. Okay, but, once my book is available, yes, it's taking forever, but that's because I've had to continuously reject the proof for different errors. But I am expecting the final proof this week. I don't think there should be any more mistakes in it. And as long as I sign off on it, it will go to the printer. Okay. Anyway, once you have my Grand Jeu Lenormand book, you'll have the information for every element on these cards at your fingertips. Okay? All right. Back to Steve's reading. So the first card I drew was the center card. I always draw the center card first, then I do the left and right. That's just me. It does not matter. Just tell the cards what you're going to do and then do it. All right, so I drew the 7 of clubs as the center card. Now, the center card provides an overview of the answer. It represents the seeker and the situation in question, right? So it's kind of like the whole ball of wax in summation. All right, so I then drew the 10 of clubs for the left-hand position. This position shows what's going on behind the scenes or what's acting on the situation. And lastly, I drew the 6 of diamonds for the right-hand position, which will tell Steve how he should view the whole situation, what he needs to know about it, and what actions he should take right now. It's basically saying, well, this is the way you should see this. This is the way you should think about this, and that might include, actual actions to take, not just thinking. All right. So let's look at the center card first. It describes the situation and the role the seeker plays within it, as I just said. So my initial visual sweep over the cards gave me the answer, really. My initial visual sweep gave me the answer. I mean, the center card told me that Steve was ambitious and determined, but he feels like he's got a giant at his heels. This is him up here. This is this card of Capricorn, right? So that's Steve up there. So here's a giant chasing after him. So that's what I got from that. Yeah, he's ambitious. That's the overall meaning of this card. But he feels he's got a giant at his heels. All right. And then I look to the left, and we're going to pair this small image here with this card, right? Even though we do still need to know the overall meaning of this card. And once you read the stories behind these main images, you won't forget them. You'll look at it and you'll say, oh, I know what that story is. All right, anyway, so I saw Steve as the wounded warrior who needed to put down his shield and rest under a tree for a while. And with the card on the right, I saw that he should keep his mouth shut right now, or at least keep his door shut and not let anyone in. So the answer was already obvious. But let's look at some other elements on here. All right, so the 7 of clubs, as I just said, this is a zodiac card for the sign of Capricorn. In my book, I state that a Capricorn's greatest strength is determination, which makes them relentless in their pursuits. They're ambitious and determined to overcome whatever stands in their way. So, and under the key phrase section in my book, it says, being seduced by big ambitions. All right? Trying to climb the mountain of success with a monster on your heels can be dangerous. The risks of opportunism. What should catch your attention here is the giant on your heels and the emphasis on the risks of opportunism, right? And those are important to understand the overall meaning of this card. Now, to understand this card, you need to know the difference between ambition and opportunism. So what is ambition? It's the application of determination and hard work in the relentless pursuit of a goal. So I could say that ambition is when you see the end goal as if it's already happened, right? Through the eyes of complete faith. There's no doubt in your mind it's going to happen. You're going to get there, all right? You're ambitious. Nothing's going to stand in your way, right? It's so close you can see it, smell it, feel it, hear it, taste it, right? You're then driven to put all of your energy and enthusiasm into reaching that goal, which demands total focus, all right? So when you are ambitious, you are totally focused, you are staying in your lane and ignoring all the other drivers, right? You're not scattering your energy. You're condensing your energy all into one thing, which means you will succeed at that, all right? So healthy ambition is a good thing, yes? All right, so then what is opportunism? Opportunism, on the other hand, is generally a result of trying to take a shortcut. It's typically... It typically involves a plan to get something faster or more easily, or you do it when you're suckered into doing something because someone promises you greater rewards than you can obtain on your own. All right? So indulging in opportunism causes us to sacrifice our principles, or it leads to being taken advantage of. Okay? So the Seven of Clubs, again, Seven of Clubs here in the center, highlights ambition, while at the same time warns against the danger of opportunism. So that's unique to this card, all right? Because there's a lot of cards that talk about ambition, but that's the meaning of this card. So it suggests that you're on a dangerous or less than beneficial path because you've taken your eyes off the prize, right? You've taken your eyes off the prize. You're scattering your energy. You're not just focused on your goal now. You're putting your attention on the giant that you think is at your heels, the monster, all right? And what happens when you give something attention? What happens when you give anything your attention? It grows, okay? So if that's the whole point of the focus, of that tunnel vision focus, right? That's why you don't want to scatter your energy, because every time you put your attention on anything else, it grows. So now Steve is literally making Harry bigger than he really is, more powerful than he really is, because he's seeing him, he's noticing him, he's giving him attention, he's giving him energy, he's feeding him. All right. Okay. So now the giant, this is important too. The giant on this card may represent a person, but it basically just refers to any condition that you feel is bigger than yourself. So think about that. This is a business reading, right? So business competition, skill, your skill with modern technology. That's a big one for me because I'm still trying to figure it out. The right education. Like, do you feel you have the right education? Are you looking at everybody else and saying, well, they have a better degree. They went to a better school. They have a PhD and I only have a bachelor's. They have whatever. Are you doing that, right? Well, that makes those other people that you're looking at giants. You're giving them power. You're making them bigger than they are. All right. What else? Yeah, credentials, degrees, who you know. All of that can be the giant. All right. So under the card summary, I wrote, what seems to be a great idea may not be as easy as you think. Right? Easy. Think. I just said easy, right? It may not be as easy as you think, right? Because look at this mountain that he had to scale with this monster at his heels, right? So that wasn't easy. That was a big challenge. All right. It says, I'm reading what I put in my book here under card summary. Oh, you'll have to consider the obstacles that must be overcome to get what you want. The challenges you face may involve seducers. Don't be so blinded by your ambitions that you fall prey to manipulation. All right. So now let's look down here at this small image, the furnace with the flames coming out of it. The furnace represents wasted energy, futile efforts, misleading promises, or unfulfilled hopes. So when this image is in play, you'll experience various difficulties. in business readings, it can point to scattered energy and wasteful efforts. All right? Here it's telling Steve to stop and reconsider his current plan, because we pair it with this, right? If this is Steve, is he in any condition to scale this mountain right now? No, that would be wasted effort, wouldn't it? And his dreams would go up in flames. Okay, see how it all comes together? All right, so now on the right, let's look at this guy on the right here. We see a worker holding tools, right? He looks like he's hardworking, he's skilled, but without a solid business plan, he's leaving himself open to being taken advantage of by others who just want to exploit him for his talents. This means that he'd be doing all the work while others receive most of the recognition and profit. Okay, so it will take more ambition for this guy to reach the top, right? If he wants to obtain bigger rewards, he can't take shortcuts, and he needs a solid business plan, and because he does have the skill, he's got the tools, right? But he needs the ambition to do it himself, okay? So now the flowers tell Steve that luck can be found in perseverance, resilience, endurance, and the wisdom to know when to advance and when to put your nose to the grindstone. Do you see how it ties these two together? Ties all of them together. You can see how all of these elements go together. All right? Okay. The letter G brings the energies of intuition, instinct, purpose, wisdom, introspection. Right? So I told Steve to pay attention to what his gut was telling him. Right? Okay, so let's look at the card on the left to see what's acting on the situation. Remember that we want to understand the overall meaning of the card, but our main focus is on the small image that touches, in this case, that touches the center card. It's always, the stuff that touches the card next to it is what you're concerned with, right? As you go through a line of cards. Okay, so over here we're mainly concerned with the playing card image and this small image, right, to pair with this card. And on this side, I was mainly looking at the letter and this small image, okay? And remember, this is the main card, okay? Just to recap there. All right, so looking at this, as I said, here we have Steve as the wounded warrior. He no longer has the strength to fight. He puts down his shield. He leans against the tree. It represents unexpected setbacks. He needs time to get in a better frame of mind, right? Now, isn't the right time to move forward with his plan, right? Because, a warrior only advances when his will is stronger than his fear. Oh, I like that. A warrior only advances when his will is stronger than his fear. He knows when the time is right. And I have to say that this is a timing card. Good timing is a key element of this card, I should say. So if the seeker is dealing with a dangerous enemy, as we see there, right? The 10 of clubs advises him to protect himself by devising a plan to skillfully thwart the enemy's tricks. That's what the main image is about, all right? You got to devise a plan, and you got to choose just the right time, right? Okay, so like the grapes here, we have to wait for them to get ripe, right? This guy is wounded, all right? So again, they all tie in together. All right, so, all right, let's see. So, the letter O resonates with the ideas of responsibility, personal freedom, self-determination, will, and obstinacy. Okay, that all is going with this card, right? Obstinacy, stay in your lane. Remember, don't worry about the other drivers. Personal freedom, do it on your own. Will, you have to have the will, right, to employ your ambition. Okay. Now, the right card tells Steve how to think about a situation, how to think about it overall, how to look at it, how to view it, and what actions to take right now. So the key phrase, again, from my book, the key phrase for the Six of Diamonds is, be careful who you trust. Salt and sugar look the same. All right? This card brings a warning to be careful of certain people around you who don't wish you well or have a bad influence on you. So in business and career readings, you're currently at risk of deception in all contracts, proposals, and promises. Don't trust anyone at work at this time, and don't commit to or sign anything. Everything related to money and finances is problematic. Commitments are not kept, advice is bad, and support is nowhere to be found. Again, this is all in my book. Right? Knowing this, what would you tell Steve about the possibility of accepting Harry's proposal after what I just said? I don't think it can be any clearer. This is flat out says, do not sign any contracts right now. Don't trust anybody. All right, now we're looking at this little image down here. It shows two performers who are playing out of sync. All right. It represents disharmony, disunity, mismatches, and can indicate questionable relationships and dysfunctional couples. Yes, Harry and Steve would be a dysfunctional couple. So it says don't commit to any relationships at this time, regardless of how enticing and attractive they appear. If you want to look further, you can consider the playing cards meaning. Do you really need to at this point? No, but have at it if you want. And that's really the only way to learn the cards is to at some point, go back to your book, your notes, whatever, and look it all up and see how it all ties in. But the Six of Diamonds references confusion, being misled, and possibly deception, right? When it shows up in a reading, you're warned not to trust blindly, and you may be dealing with goals that will be difficult to achieve. So there it is. The beauty of this system lies in the details of the myths and stories that are associated with the main images. All right. Also, the fact that it has several elements on each card is a good thing, not a bad thing. It's giving you more information. It allows you to cross-reference your interpretations. It gives you more details. Okay, woo! All right, I know this was long. Sorry, I'm a little out of practice making videos. So, thanks so much for watching. Oh, there go the puppies. Thanks so much for watching, and now go get out of that Grand Jeu deck that's probably still sitting in the box, if you even have one, and start playing with it. All right? The only way to bond with a system is to use it. So for now, keep it light, keep it fun, and start getting to know the stories behind those images. Bye, everybody.